All right, do you know Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
Were you her direct supervisor?
I was most recently, but not when she was hired.
After that, then you received the next text?
Yes, I believe so.
And what does it say?
OMG, Andy, he's going to kill himself. He must be the shooter.
And then the next text?
I need a lawyer at substation with police.
And then what else?
Ethan did it.
Okay, what was your response at this point?
Complete shock.
Hey guys, welcome back to Jay is for Justice. My name is Jay and I am your host. As the trial for the Oxford school shooter Ethan Crumbley's parents is set to begin January 23rd, I figured a brief update was in order. Before we begin, make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to my channel so you get more. James and Jennifer Crumbley are Ethan's parents. Now, there is a neighbor named Kayla Lemieux, and she lives near Ethan and his parents. And she said that when Ethan was 8 or 9 years old, they would leave him alone while they went out bar hopping. Lemieux is 28 years old, and she told the Detroit Free Press, when they were gone, he would come knock on our door. They didn't leave him with a phone. So Lemieux said she contacted CPS, but doesn't know if they took action, noting that the alleged neglect continued. And then Kayla goes on to say, it was really when I finally started to say more, because I was just like, even after calling CPS, they were still doing it. And even me saying something to them, they were still like, oh, he's fine. Famous last words. So specifically, I guess they went on a bar crawl and left Ethan, age 8 or 9, home alone. So we also have heard from Ethan's brother. Ethan has an older brother. So his older brother is 18 years old, and he says that Ethan was a happy kid. He got good grades, he was into Minecraft, and wasn't bullied as a child. So Ethan's brother's name is Eli Crumbley, and he has moved away. So he was living there, and he moved away. Now, mind you, Ethan is 15, Eli is 18. They have the same father, but they have different mothers. So if you do the math, when Eli was 3, Ethan was born to Jennifer Crumbley. And the two boys were growing up in Florida, but then they both moved to Michigan with their dad and Jennifer, their stepmother. Now, Eli didn't get specific with the Daily Mail, but he did hint at some issues with his stepmother that prompted him to swiftly move back to Florida to live with his biological mother last March. So just last year. Eli was like, peace out. But we don't know why. So Ethan remained in his parents' house in Oxford, which is less than 2 miles from where the shooting took place at the high school. And 4 students died that day. Okay, so let's go on with Eli. Eli Crumbley says he cannot understand how his own sibling could suddenly snap, open fire, and kill his classmates. He says, the Ethan I knew was just a smart boy who just seemed like an average kid. There was nothing that ever stood out to me. He'd never get suspended from school or detention. He didn't suffer depression or anything like that. He woke up happy, went to school, came home, and played games. So he says he was a happy and average kid. Not sure I buy that, but because all the kids at school say he was a little weird, right? So Eli says that most of the reason that he did move back to Florida was because of issues between his stepmother and himself. It wasn't as great as it could be, and moving back to Florida was the best option for me. And that's where he left it. But he did reach out to his dad after hearing of the mass shooting. And Eli said, I was worried. I wanted to see if Ethan was okay because I knew he went there. Now, Eli also attended the school for 1 year. He says, and that's when I was receiving information otherwise. Unable to reach his dad, Eli called a former employer who told him that his old house in Oxford was surrounded by FBI agents. He then learned that his own father bought the gun that Ethan used. Eli said, when I was living there, nothing seemed off. We just walk to the bus stop in the morning, go to school, come home, maybe play some football outside or basketball. We just chill. We didn't do much. But didn't get along with the stepmother. Which brings me... oh, wait, there's more from Eli. He did not know that Ethan had a gun till after it happened. He said, it's hard to believe. I still can't believe it. And as far as I knew, Ethan was always good. He was quiet, kept to himself, kept his circle of friends small. He was a clean kid. Didn't smoke or do drugs, nothing. He got good grades, and he wanted to be an archaeologist. Ethan was on the bowling and soccer teams in middle school, but didn't play team sports in high school. He said his brother's biggest hobby was video games, which he'd play at night. His favorite was Minecraft. Asked whether he knew of any other problems that Ethan was experiencing, Eli noted that they had an aunt who died a couple months ago and that Ethan recently also lost his pet dog, Tank. Eli says, I really don't know what his reasoning was behind this. He was surprised to hear that bullying may have been a factor. I would like to talk to him, he said, but I don't think that's something that's going to happen for a while. Police said that there is no record of the teenager being bullied, as other students have claimed, and prosecutors revealed at his arraignment that he had detailed in a journal found in his backpack how he wanted to shoot the students at the school. He posted on Instagram 4 days before the attack to show off his father's new gun, pretending it was his. Just got my new beauty today. Sig Sauer 9mm. So that takes us to the evil stepmother. Different mothers, same dad. So Eli has a different mom. So Eli moved back to Florida to live with his biological mother, and Ethan stayed with his biological mother and father up in Michigan. Now, I mean, really the debate here starts with, should these parents be held responsible for what their son did in that school? So let's talk a little bit more about Mrs. Crumbley, Mrs. Jennifer Crumbley. She is the marketing director for, it looks like some kind of a property management company, possibly like apartments from what I could see. She was having an affair, supposedly, while ignoring Ethan's troubling behavior. So it came out that his mother was having an affair with another man while all of this was happening with Ethan. So they're saying there was at least one intimate affair that involved Jennifer Crumbley. James Crumbley's ex had a lot to say about Jennifer and James. She said that Ethan's dad is a piece of shit who abandoned her family, and Jennifer is a monster. She says pretty much Jennifer Crumbley is the devil. She hates her. Piece of shit. She says James is a piece of shit. She had a lot to say. So Michelle Cobb shares a son with James. And here we have Mr. James, piece of shit, Crumbley, according to his ex. So he left behind a daughter as well. So not only did James leave Eli, well, Eli came up to Michigan and then was like, I'm peacing out because Jennifer is a psycho, right? So he left and went back to Florida. But he also has a daughter. So she says James Crumbley and his wife, Jennifer, allegedly looked for ways to criticize Cobb because they hated that he had to pay child support for his son, Eli. Oh, no. Okay, so this is Eli's mom, but she's saying that he also had a daughter that with another woman. I cried the moment he turned 18 because I thought all this hell is over as far as dealing with my son's father, she said. Cobb blames Jennifer Crumbley for making it difficult for Eli to get closer to his father and half-brother Ethan, calling her a monster. She could do no wrong, and she was right about everything. I mean, this is exactly the kind of attitude she has. Like, she literally thought she was better than everyone. Cobb said she wouldn't be surprised if Ethan's parents bought the semi-automatic handgun as a gift for him. They pretty much gave him whatever he wanted, she said. Why would you let a 15-year-old have access, especially knowing that just a few days prior he was having problems at school? And then she goes on to say, I hope they get the maximum, honestly, all of them. They deserve it. They need to be held accountable for what their child did. They need to have a reality check. And there is the beautiful Jennifer Crumbley. So this is a video of Ethan Crumbley collapsing and hitting his head. And this is in 2020. And this is compliments of CDT. He must have been working somewhere. A diner, I guess. I don't know what diner. Like, what the?
Whoa. You all right? Here. You all right? Yeah. All right.
Wait, let's watch that again. Of course, I got to play it in slow-mo now. Whoa, dude. The police have said that there was no indication that Ethan had any disciplinary issues other than having met with school officials the day prior and again on the day of the shooting to discuss his behavior. The first meeting occurred after a teacher spotted Ethan using his phone to search for ammunition and reported him. Not only was he Googling ammunition, but he also had his backpack in the classroom, which was not allowed. Hello? Okay, so during the discussion about Ethan using his phone to search ammunition, Ethan told the school that he and his mother had recently been to a shooting range and that shooting sports are a family hobby. School officials did leave a voicemail and an email for Jennifer, the mother. She did not respond, but she later texted Ethan saying, LOL. I'm not mad at you. You have to learn not to get caught. So the second meeting occurred after another teacher found a violent drawing on Crumbley's desk of a semi-automatic handgun pointing at the words, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." And then in another section of the note was a drawing of a bullet with the following words above the bullet that said, "Blood everywhere." Between the drawing of the gun and the bullet is a drawing of a person who appears to have been shot twice and bleeding. Below that figure is a drawing of a laughing emoji. Further down the drawing are the words, "My life is useless." And to the right of that are the words, "The world is dead." The school was actually hiding their social media after this happened. The counselors linked in. One of the counselors who's being sued or named in this lawsuit hid his LinkedIn as well. The teacher took a photo of the drawing, which was on a math worksheet, and reported it. Ethan was taken guidance counselor's office where the school staff called Crumbley's parents. While waiting for them an hour and a half, The school counselors said they did not observe any behavior from Crumbley that indicated he may harm others. And this is per the superintendent of Oxford Community Schools. The Crumbley's parents were shown the drawing when they arrived at the meeting, and Ethan at this time had scribbled over in an attempt to conceal what it said. They were instructed to seek counseling for their son within 48 hours, or the school said they would call Child Protective Services. They, quote, resisted the idea of Crumbley leaving the school at the time and did not inform school officials that they had recently purchased a gun for him. He was returned to class because he had no prior disciplinary issues. Crumbley had the weapon he used somewhere on the school grounds at the time of that meeting. And I think we find out later that it was in his backpack. After the second meeting, Crumbley allegedly committed the shooting at 12:50 p.m. So Jennifer Crumbley at 1:22, 7 minutes after the first news report came out of a shooting at the school, Jennifer texted Ethan and said, "Ethan, don't do it." At 1:37, James Crumbley called 911 to report the handgun is missing. And he also said in that 911 call that Ethan could be the gunman at Oxford High. So the superintendent says that at the time, no discipline was warranted. And Sheriff Broussard of the Oakland County Sheriff's Department said concerns about Crumbley's behavior were not shared with his office. After announcing the charges against Ethan, the prosecutor there in Oakland County, Karen McDonald, told the reporters that were asking questions that day that she was also considering criminal charges against Jennifer and James. She said that responsible gun ownership was crucial to stop tragedies, and those who are not responsible should be held accountable. Your son kills 4 students at his school with a gun that you bought him. And you go and you run. They ran with something like 15 debit cards, credit cards in their pocket, several phones. They ditched a car. They backed their car down in Detroit where they hid out. The attorneys then in turn said that they didn't flee, but they were running for their own safety. This is what was said. So someone who ran a business, an Oakland County resident, ran a business inside this warehouse in Detroit, which I'm pretty sure we know who that is. He's an artist. He said that he was not aware that the couple was wanted by authorities at the time that he allowed them to stay. And he declined to elaborate on the nature of his association with the couple. The authorities did question this man, and they said he's being cooperative, and they did search his Troy, Michigan home and seize several digital devices. At 11:05 p.m. on December the 3rd, police received a tip from a business owner who found the Crumbley's vehicle in his parking lot in Detroit. And that's about 40 miles from Oxford. The man also said he saw Jennifer, who fled upon being spotted. Police responded to the scene about 20 minutes later and established a perimeter in the area. The only time that these two came out was when James moved the car and backed it in and to smoke. They did request from their friend, the artist, they requested vodka and orange juice and bedding. And he provided it. So the police surrounded this warehouse, and around 2 a.m., so they were out there for about 3 hours. They took them into custody. So after they went in, right, the door was locked. So they bust in. These people still were hiding behind a mattress in this warehouse. So the person actually who had reported them helped them enter the building. And then they were hiding behind a mattress. So there was no indication that they planned to surrender to authorities at all. And then their attorney goes on to say that they didn't flee but left town for their own safety. They were supposed to show up for their 4 o'clock arraignment and remained at large. The attorneys had also said that they hadn't talked with the parents after attempting to reach them by phone and text. CNN reported that Jennifer and James had withdrawn $4,000 from an ATM in Rochester Hills on December 3rd, and that they had turned off their cell phones. So Jennifer and James were finally arraigned on the morning of December 4th, where they pleaded not guilty to the charges, and a bail of $500,000 each was set for them. And they're in the same jail as their son. Now, their son has a public defender, but they bought a female dream team to represent them. So all 3 of them were put in isolation and were being monitored under suicide watch. And they are not allowed to interact for an indefinite amount of time. So they're charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. There you go with everything you needed to know about James and Jennifer Crumbley. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel so we can follow this trial together. This is a very unique case, one of its kind, and I think it may set a precedence to future cases to come. So I hope you'll tune in with us. We have a lot of fun in our chats, and hopefully we'll see you at the trial for James and Jennifer Crumbley. Be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.